This Will Levis experiment is only going to lead down a road where you don't want to go down. And Ran Carthon, the general manager, he at some point is going to have to say, you know what? We misjudged this.
Before we get into how long is the leash on some of these guys, Harrison, who do you think is the most disappointing quarterback so far in 2024?
Well, I think we're going to look at a couple of quarterbacks that are options here, but a lot of them are not being paid like one Daniel Jones, who has a cap hit of $47 million. I mean, we could complain about Will Levis all you want, but he's not costing you the same amount of money that Daniel Jones is. I think there's just an overall level of discouragement as a New York Giants fan, and I could speak for all of them. There's just a discouragement that he's has with this New York offense, with this New York fan base, the inability to get the ball down the field, his inability to look down the field and expose some of those targets is really just infuriating at this point in time, because we've seen it for so many different years. You can only rush for so many yards. You can only escape the pocket for so many times before the fans say, who cares? Can you actually throw the ball down the field like you're expected to, like most quarterbacks? And when we're paying you and watching Saquon Barkley score touchdowns for our dear rival in the Philadelphia Eagles, yeah, that would make me the most disappointed. That is for sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I've been disappointed with him my whole career, Daniel Jones. I think, to me, it's not his fault that he got paid. It's the Giants front office who's delusional in thinking that he actually could be and justifying the 5th pick overall in the draft. I think, to me, look, Bryce Young got benched the other day, and Bryce Young was bad. There's no question. Nobody's going to defend Bryce Young. Now, there's a lot of circumstances, but Bryce Young's team played poorly. But the one guy who's cost his team 2 games is Will Levis. And Bryce Young, you could say whatever you want. He didn't play well, but he didn't cost his team. His whole team cost him 2 games. I mean, they were all atrocious. Whereas this Titan team could be 2-0 right now. They easily could have won the opening game if he doesn't turn the ball over and make ridiculous mistakes. And then they easily could have beaten the Jets, who get 17 points off of his turnovers. So for me, if Tennessee just doesn't mess up, they beat Chicago and they beat this, to me, I don't know how much longer. Like, I was screaming for Mason Rudolph to go in the game, Grace, on Sunday, because I felt like if they put Mason Rudolph in the game, they were going to be better. This Will Levis experiment is only going to lead down a road where you don't want to go down. And Ran Carthon, the general manager, he at some point is going to have to say, you know what? We misjudged this. I know he was at top of the 2nd round. I know he's got a straight arm. But when you make dumb decisions during football games that cost your teammates games, it cost them playoff checks, you're not very well liked in that locker room, and you could lose the team if you're the head coach if you don't make a move. So, to me, I think the leash is really short for Will Levis. I agree that Daniel Jones, but look, Drew Lock's not an option.
And the thing with Will Levis is he wasn't Callahan's hire. Callahan doesn't owe him anything, right? Looking at their schedule, they have...
But hold on, though, Grace. Hold on. Callahan got the job to be Will Levis's guy, which is really fascinating point you're making, because he's bailed on him quicker than any guy. Like, Mike McDaniel got the job in Miami for one reason and one reason only, to make Tua feel very good and to treat him with kick gloves and to give him all the confidence that Brian Flores didn't give him. And obviously, Tua hated Brian Flores. He came out this summer and destroyed him. All right, so Mike McDaniel delivered on why he was hired. Brian Callahan was hired for the same reason, to come in and to build an offense around the greatness of Will Levis, and we've got our quarterback of the future. Mike Vrabel didn't buy into that, and that's why Mike Vrabel, as great of a head coach as Mike Vrabel is, he got sent packing. That's the reality of it. And now Brian Callahan, after 2 games, actually after 1 game, when you come to the press conference and say we're better off punting on first down, then you've given up on your quarterback, Grace.
Okay, so I'll rephrase my question then, because Callahan has doubled down on his thoughts on Will Levis. He was asked, does he regret anything he said last week, or that blow up on the field, the WTF moment? And he said, no, I don't regret my feelings. He's a grown-up and he knows better. I remember when I was covering Alabama in the Birmingham TV market, Nick Saban would go on rants about his players because he knew they were watching the press conferences, and he wasn't giving us media members a soundbite. He was actually sending a message to the players through that press conference. So Is it possible Callahan is taking the same approach here?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think to me, this idea that, that you have to treat the quarterback with kid gloves. I mean, Brian Callahan reacted like every member of the Tennessee Titans did. Like, what are you doing, dude? Like, why are you killing us? Like, what did we do to you? You're supposed to help us win. Why are you so mad at us? And I think to me, that's really the issue here. So I think ultimately what you have to look at is Brian Callahan has to protect himself with that locker room. And if he wants to stand in front of the team on Wednesday meetings when everybody comes back after the game, he's got to sit there and say, this messed up, he can't protect Will Levis. And so Will Levis is going to have to play better. Or if not, he's going to lose his job. There's no question.
The Titans host the Packers this week. Then they travel to Miami. Then they have the bye week. What do you think Callahan needs to see from Will Levis to keep him the starter when they come back in week 6?
Well, he's got to see him make complete passes that are easy to complete. He's got to play faster, and then he's got to eliminate the dumb mistake. I mean, he's got to eliminate the dumb mistake. He's got to be able to throw the ball to the open receiver. He's got to read the progression, and then he's got to be able to not hurt his team when the play breaks down. Like, don't make a bad play worse. Don't go backwards. Try to always get the offense to go forward like Justin Fields is doing. Look, hey, Will, we're really good on defense. We've got a good team. We're better at run blocking than we were from last year. We can run the football on every team we've played. All you have to do is just manage the game and don't lose the game for us. And don't try to be a hero. Don't let your ego get involved. You're not ready to take over a game. You're not Brett Favre. Don't try to force the ball into places it has no business being. That's why we practice all week.
Thanks for watching, but don't let the betting insights end here. If you want an extra edge this football season, you can get a month of VSiN Pro right now absolutely free. That means access to our betting insights, analysis, and tools like our betting splits at zero cost to you. Click the link in the description to sign up.